Hello and welcome back to Matte's Tottenham blog and to another episode of Transfer Talk. Today we're going to be talking about everything Fabrizio Romano had to say when he was on the Last Word on Spurs podcast, which I will leave linked down in the description below. Before we get into the video, if you do want more transfer videos like this, plus interactive fan live streams, match previews, reviews and general Tottenham analysis videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click the notification bell so you do get notified every time I upload. And to dive straight into things, as always, as you can tell by the title of the video, Tottenham have apparently inquired to Inter Milan about the availability of Christian Eriksen. Now, this is one when I heard Romano had said this on the podcast. Obviously, as I think most fans were, I was absolutely shocked. But there is kind of a sense of embarrassment about it as well. I mean, I know as we've seen from the Amazon documentary in the last couple of days, perhaps there was more of a desire to keep Eriksen at the club from Daniel Levy, especially than we had thought back in January when this deal did go ahead. But it is kind of slightly embarrassing that just 8 months after selling him to Inter Milan for a cup fee, cup price, after him running down his contract for so long, the fact that we would now be going back in for him, and there aren't many journalists, there aren't many sources out there that you can trust 100% of the time. But I do feel as though Fabrizio Romano is one of those. And he has said that about 2 weeks ago Tottenham did inquire about the availability of Christian Eriksen. He said he heard from one of his sources within Tottenham that had happened, but less than 2 hours later he was talking to Inter Milan and they immediately said there was no chance. So it does seem as though Tottenham did make this, they did go to Inter Milan about the player, but were immediately rebuffed, and it doesn't look like there's any chance of that deal happening. But I do think questions need to be asked about why we can let a player run his contract down like that and so soon after actually come back and look and try to buy him again. So I assume if we were going to get him, it would be for a lot more than the 11 million we paid for him, or we sold him for in January. Now, as for Eriksen at Inter, it's no secret he hasn't had the best start there. There's so many rumours, and I think there was even before this deal went ahead at the beginning of the year, that Antonio Conte didn't actually want him at the club. And it may seem as though that is still the case. He's not a consistent player in the starting 11. He's had some good performances, but he's also had a lot of bad performances. And he's having a mixed bag over there. And kind of like the way he was at Tottenham, he does seem to be splitting the opinions of the fans. And Inter Milan, who definitely do have a really strong midfielder there and are only looking to improve it even further this summer, you would have to question whether or not there is a place in that team for Christian Eriksen. But regardless of that, it does not look like he will be joining Tottenham this summer, which I didn't think was a line I'd have to say. But Tottenham have inquired, but it doesn't look like that one is going to happen. Now, as for signings that could potentially happen, of course, we've already completed 3 deals, Doherty, Joe Hart, and of course Højbjerg as well. Romano said we are looking to make at least 3 more signings this window. He expects us to move for a centre-back fairly soon. He hasn't given any names on this. He himself obviously doesn't know what names we could potentially be looking at, but a centre-back seems to be top of the list of our priorities at the moment. Of course, we have the own names that we've been hearing all summer. I think Kim Min-jae will be the main one in there, and of course Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan, who has already been offered to us, but that seems to have been part of a deal with Ndombele, which, as I'll get onto further into the video, doesn't seem likely at the moment. We are looking to sign a centre-back. The other 2 positions we're looking at is another winger, which I suppose you can never have too many wingers, especially in that system in the system that we play, I suppose, having those 3 behind the striker, because you do have some of our wingers who can play more central, Son and Lucas especially. We are looking into another one, again, no names, but you'd have to question why that is so high in the list of priorities when we do have Bergwijn, Lucas, Son, Lamela, and some other players who can play in those roles. I wouldn't expect that to be one of the main things we're looking at, but with the winger and the other position being a centre forward, there too, that we could be looking at later in the window. So it's not exactly urgent, but it is something Tottenham are looking to do before the end of the window. Again, we have our own kind of idea what names could be around there: Josh King, Callum Wilson, and a handful of others that are always linked with Tottenham. As for wingers, Gareth Bale, of course, a name that's been thrown around again, especially given the interview he gave yesterday, where he said he is open to a return to the Premier League, but it is Real Madrid at the moment who are stopping him from leaving. So I think that him saying he's open to return has given a lot of fans that boost again. But Romano was talking about Gareth Bale as well, and he said it doesn't look likely for this window. It's a really difficult market to work in. As much as the deal would be difficult for Tottenham to get done in any environment, this particular market, giving of course everything that's gone on in the last couple of months, it's just highly unlikely that it will happen this summer. But he has said he does think it is a move we could see in the future, Gareth Bale returning to Tottenham, perhaps maybe when his contract expires at Real Madrid. Currently got 2 years left there. If we were going to get him, it would be ideal to get it done sooner than that, because he's not getting any younger, and it's been a while since he's had consistent first team football. But Gareth Bale to Tottenham will not be happening this summer. This is one obviously that's revisited every summer. No surprise that one won't be happening. As for Tanguy Ndombele, it was one of the first questions Romano was asked on the podcast, which again will be linked down in the description. He said basically kind of what we've been hearing the last week or so, that all parties do seem to be happy for Ndombele to stay at Tottenham. The talk earlier in the summer was that we were looking to sell him. We were open to discussing a swap deal with Inter Milan for Milan Skriniar, but at the moment Daniel Levy seems happy to keep Ndombele at the club. The player himself, wants to prove himself and wants to challenge himself in the Premier League again to see if he can become the player we were expecting of him. And Jose Mourinho, despite having some sort of concerns about the player's attitude, the player's desire, the player's commitment, again, he is happy to just give him another chance. And given the fact that we did pay £65 million for him, and he is a club record signing, and he is still only 23, as I do think a lot of people seem to forget fairly easily, I think perhaps it could be best just give him another chance. And I know I've personally said in the past, in very recent past, that maybe we should just move him on because he doesn't seem to be making any sort of progress. But if all parties are happy for him to stay for at least another year, it's probably for the best to give him that chance to become the player that we hoped he would be. And I suppose that's kind of the general gist of what Fabrizio Romano was talking about. Of course, talking about some other deals around the world as well. He was talking about Paul Pogba. If it wasn't for the pandemic, Pogba would probably be a Juventus player at the moment. Just kind of emphasising how the market has changed given everything that has gone on in the last 6 or 7 months. But this transfer window is far from over for Tottenham. There's a lot more business to be done in terms of incomings and outgoings, and it'll be really interesting to see which rumours that we've been hearing do actually come to fruition. So don't forget to put down in the comments below your opinions on this, especially the inquiry Tottenham have made about Christian Eriksen and the signings that we could potentially be making. If you want to suggest any players for centre-back, winger or centre-forward signings that we could make, put those down in the comments as well. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thanks for watching.